Time for the 49ers Rush Podcast. And here's your host, John Chapman.
What is going on, faithful? It is Thursday. It's time for the Coach Approach, the Niners show with me and my man, Ant from 49ers Cutback. How are we doing today, bud?
Doing great. As good as can be expected. I don't have a toe injury. I don't have a shoulder injury. So those are good things right now. But, it's unfortunate that we're going to go into this game and it's not going to probably be Brock Purdy, which is frustrating to hear. The new reports 2 to 5 weeks. It is what it is. But the good thing is they got the first win against a divisional opponent, and they still have a chance to win because, you know what? Mac Jones gives the 49ers a chance to win. And I want to say that he does. Last year, our backup quarterbacks did not give us a chance to win, but Mac Jones, he does.
Yeah, I was going to ask, how are you feeling? Are you injured? Everybody's hurt. Let's see what's going on. But yeah, that, and that's kind of the thing. We're going to talk what Mac Jones means to this offense, what that drop-off looks like, what it means for Brock Purdy and the offense. Want to talk George Kittle, what that tight end room looks like. The 49ers are getting some players back and how that's going to impact the changes to the 49ers run game. Plus, we're going to dip into some Saints conversation because, Ant and I can't help ourselves. We're always looking forward as a part of the coaching mindset in the coaching world. So I've dove into some film and all that kind of stuff trying to get ready. So we got a full show. Want to say thank you to all the hashtag CCs. I'm seeing the TCCs for the Cutback crew in here as well. I absolutely love it. And look, if you are one of those, all hope is lost. Just understand, Mac Jones is better than Spencer Rattler. So even though you're on your backup quarterback, you're still better than what you're playing this week, even though it is on the road. So yeah, let's start there. Let's talk about Mac Jones and what you've seen from him through preseason, through training camp, what your thoughts on his overall strengths and skill set are. We finally get to see the Kyle Shanahan, Mac Jones experiment.
Yeah, and Mac Jones is a guy that he deciphers pretty quick. He gets on the first read. It's very Sam Darnold-esque. The first read, boom, get it out. It's a guy that can work in timing. His problem at first with the 49ers offense was picking up on that timing. Everything is so on point. But once he gets it down, he's actually a quarterback that fits this scheme pretty nice. He's a smart guy. He's intelligent. He's a leader. So I think that there's a lot of aspects there that you like. I think the difference between him and Brock Purdy is pretty stark when you talk about movement skills. With Brock Purdy, he's going to move outside the pocket. He's going to extend plays. He's going to make things happen. Mac Jones has to operate within the confines of the pocket. I mean, that's pretty much what he's going to do. Pocket movement is his friend. He'll step up, he'll step around, he'll move, and he'll try to deliver the football. But make no mistakes. If an offensive lineman gets beat, Mac Jones is more than likely either throwing the ball away, checking it down, or taking a sack. That's kind of what you're going to get. But he can operate this offense, and that's what Kyle loves about getting a quarterback like Mac Jones that wins from the pocket is because it's robotic. Boom, boom. Those are my reads. Bam, ball out. And I'm going to make the player make the play. And I do like that about him. I thought he got so much better from the first time I saw him till the last time I saw him. And so that's good news, and I think he's even further along now. I think the team has a lot of confidence in Mac Jones, and he can run this offense. I think he'll be successful against the Saints.
Yeah, I mean, you go back to what he did at Alabama, and I went back and read through my draft profile. My favorite thing was gets through his reads left to right, right to left, very typically on any given play gets to his third or fourth read. It's progressions. Now, his accuracy in college was out of this world. And I did have a think. Throws the most catchable deep ball of the class. And that was a very deep, you remember he had Trevor Lawrence, Trey Lance, Zach Wilson, Justin Fields. He throws a great deep ball. And I think the one thing that has kind of carried over from Alabama to the pros, no matter what team he was on, and we already saw this in training camp and the preseason games, the deep ball is good. And so, he has a better arm than Brock. He's bigger than Brock. Now, Brock's deep ball has continuously got better. We saw that on the kind of out and up or the stop and go, whatever you want to call it, with Pearsall in week 1. Like, but I don't think that this changes really a lot of the game plan, right? So, like, if you're Kyle Shanahan and you're going in and you're constructing what we're going to do with Brock versus what we're going to do with Mac Jones versus the Saints, I don't think you have to change a lot. Am I crazy in thinking that, I'm not saying Mac Jones is Brock Purdy. He is not Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy is way better. There's no quarterback controversy, whatever else. No matter how Mac Jones plays, it doesn't matter. But I don't think that you have to really shake up and take plays away or change how you're going to attack the Saints defense. What are your thoughts?
No, I don't think so either. Schematically, he can make all the throws on the field that you need to make. So you don't have to tailor things to, either a weaker arm or, maybe a guy that can't read the whole field, can read one side. You don't have to do that. This is a complete quarterback. He can handle those types of things. He's just not going to do it as effective as your starter, but he can still be effective. And the thing about Mac Jones that I think everyone can feel comfortable with is he started a lot of games in the NFL. I mean, this guy played from his rookie season. Kendrick Bourne said, I had my best season playing with Mac Jones. That kind of just shows this guy's a little bit of a gunslinger mentality, a lot like Brock Purdy. He's going to fire that ball, and he's going to take some of those shots you said down the field. Don't be surprised when all of a sudden you get a deep vertical, the way that Jordan Watkins got in the game, and it's a big explosive play. But you're right. Kyle Shanahan, this is what he wanted from a backup quarterback. He doesn't have to wholesale change his offense. He can stay in it. The guy can come in and operate the offense the way that Kyle wants it to, and hopefully be efficient enough to help you win the game. That's the key. The question is going to be, does Mac Jones have a good enough feel for this offense to make the proper calls, to get him in and out of the right plays? If he does, I think this offense can move the ball. They can be successful, and they can ultimately score enough points to win. And I think that's the whole motto of what they're wanting for that backup quarterback. And I think for the first time in a while, they've got a guy that they feel comfortable can do that. And I think the team believes in him too.
And I love this comment from Connor. If Mac is playing 4 games and we go 2-2, man, that is exactly what teams want in their backup quarterback. Give us a chance to win. If you go 50-50 with the backup quarterback, you take that. I don't think Brock's going to be out that long. I'll stick with this thought. I don't expect Brock to play this week, but the fact they haven't added a third quarterback yet is just crazy to me. Kyle Shanahan literally invented the new rule change where you can have 3 quarterbacks, and the confidence that they have in Mac Jones and Adrian Martinez, kind of crazy. He had Mike White in for a tryout, but nothing came to fruition. And Kyle even talked about it. He's like, yeah, I think we're going to have a hard time with numbers. But then you bring in another tight end, and it's like, man, you have all these tight ends. You have several tight ends, and you signed another tight end. I just don't see this being, and again, I've said this for years, I trust Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch on a lot of things, a lot of their quotes. I do not ever trust them on any type of injury, quote, whatever else. I don't think that this is going to be a long-term injury. Personally, I don't. And I get the 2 to 5 weeks, and that's been put out there by Rappaport and whatever else. I'm sorry. Until they sign a third quarterback, I'm just not taking this super serious. I would put the over-under on games missed at 1. I think Brock plays next week against Arizona. Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe I'm just being optimistic, but that comes from the idea of 1, Brock played through the injury, and 2, you have not signed a third quarterback. So, how do you deal with this idea of, dude, really? You're going to go into this game with Mac Jones and Adrian Martinez, and that's it?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit surprising. It almost makes you think that Brock Purdy could be an emergency type guy, right? He might be available in case of an emergency. But I think they know that 2 quarterbacks should be enough to get through a game, or at least they're hoping. I think it does, lend to the fact that you're right. Brock Purdy's going to be back sooner rather than later. And they're probably looking at the Saints game as not as a foregone conclusion they're going to win, but it's a better chance they win without Brock Purdy this week than next week against the Arizona Cardinals, which is a divisional matchup. It's more important to have Brock Purdy for that. Even if you lose this game to the Saints, going 2-0 in the division by winning next week is more important. So I think that this is a short-term injury. I think that they're hoping this thing's going to recover quickly. They'll probably know sooner rather than later about where he's going to be. But I think it is going to be Adrian Martinez and Mac Jones. and they're going to go with 2 guys, and they're going to hope that they can keep Mac Jones upright and healthy and that they can get through this game. But I think you're right. Them not signing a third quarterback means this thing is not going to last. If it was going to be a long-term injury, they would put Brock Purdy on the IR and they'd bring in another quarterback, that could be there and have 3 guys in the building because that's how they feel comfortable. But they're not going to do that.
Yeah, I don't think so either. And so, look, hopefully Mac Jones, the 49ers are still favored by 3 points. Like, that is still there. So that is 100% a possibility the 49ers go out there and win back-to-back road games to start the season. Look, the Saints are not a good football team. They're not. And, the second half of this show, we're going to talk about more Saints talk. But, dude, they gave a competitive performance, came down to the last play of the game to tie it up. Like, they're not a pushover. And that defense is still that defense. You still have Carl Grandison. You still have my favorite player probably in the NFL that's not in the 49ers, Cam Jordan, had 1.5 sacks, tip pass that led to an interception. Like, come on, man. Like, it's not a pushover team. But whenever you look at the schedule, man, week 3, Cardinals, divisional game. Week 5, Rams, divisional game. So, like, this game, definitely, it's a conference game, which goes into tiebreakers or whatever else. But in the NFL, the king is win divisional games. Now, announced this yesterday, so I want to go through this real quick, Ant. I apologize. We are giving away 2 tickets to the Week 5 49ers at Rams in SoFi Stadium. And all you got to do, it costs $20 to get a chance to win. 2 tickets in the 200 section and a pink parking pass. This comes out to over $1,500 right now if you just go buy this on StubHub or TickPick or wherever else. Like, and you could have a chance to win this, 1 chance for 20 or 3 chances for 50. You just go to the 49ersrush.com/Rams. We're going to be announcing this September 25th, 10 a.m. on a Thursday show. Me and Ant, it'll be a coach approach. We'll spin the wheel. We'll send somebody to SoFi, which is going to be a lot of fun. All the proceeds go to Bruno. 3-year-old fighting over leukemia, one of my friend's kids. He's tough as hell. We did the same thing last year. Whether you want to support, whether you want to win, whether whatever, I don't care. Win the tickets, sell the tickets. I don't give a damn. Support a good cause. And for all the people asking about yesterday and the hospital visit, things so far have gone well. It was over 12 hours of surgery. From what I've been relayed, the cancer has all been removed, which is great. And so I saw in the chat a lot of people talking about their own brushes with cancer and stuff. This is a real thing that we got to deal with. So anyway, check it out, the 49ersrush.com/Rams. Support a good cause. Go see a freaking awesome game. It's SoFi, Levi's, South. Have a good time. Support a good cause. Now, let's talk tight ends. George Kittle is officially on the IR. So that's a little bit different than what we got with Brock because he is missing 4 games. He is missing both the Rams and both the other divisional game against the Cardinals. Talk to me about the tight end room. They go sign Messiah Swinson. John Lynch says they're going to promote Braden Willis. So with Luke Farrell, Jake Tonjes, Braden Willis, and Kyle Juszczyk doing a little bit of tight end work too, how do you see this tight end room moving forward over the next month of the season?
Yeah, I think it's going to be effective, but it's not going to knock anybody's socks off. I think they're going to make, key plays here and there. I think the blocking is going to be the key for these guys and how effective they're going to be. I saw a little bit of missed blocks from Luke Farrell. I saw some from Jake Tonjes as well. They've got to shore that up. Those 2 guys need to be effective in blocking if the 49ers are going to be successful running the ball. Something you don't worry about with George Kittle. It's just a foregone conclusion. The guy's going to block extremely well. He's going to take care of defensive ends, which he shouldn't have to do, but he does because he's just that good. And it's going to change things a little bit. Those guys have to be effective. And then when it comes to the passing game, you're not going to get big-time plays. You're not going to get explosives. You can't count on your tight end now to win a one-on-one matchup that you like where you isolate him. It also doesn't draw as many eyes of the defense to your tight end position. So it does change it. It makes it a little bit more difficult for Christian McCaffrey. But I think if Luke Farrell and Jake Tonjes can continue to be effective, catch the ball when it comes to them, find open spots to nestle down in, they can at least give some production. I think it lends to those guys making some plays for this 49ers offense. So they're going to be effective. They're just not going to be explosive or dynamic the way you're going to get from George Kittle. So it is a drop-off, but as long as they block well, we'll be fine.
Yeah, that's what I care about, right? The blocking. Like if they could do that and man, get a couple catches. And my favorite thing was that Kyle Shanahan designed a tight end screen for Jake Tonches for his first NFL catch ever. Like how cool is that? 4th and 2, you go out there and throw it to freaking Stone Legs Luke Farrell, and he comes down with a contested catch. Like if they could just do enough as outlets, extra options, those flat distraction and those hook to curl distractions, so you can run drift and whatever else, dagger behind them. Like they're still going to be a piece of the puzzle. I would prefer most of the passing targets to go to Kyle Juszczyk. And I love that he's been, getting work in there. Kyle joked around about how smart he was, and they had to keep him occupied because he was getting bored in the presser, which I thought was really funny. But yeah, man, the tight ends the tight ends are going to play a very crucial role. And even after Kittle was out, they kept doing 22 personnel, where you had Brian Robinson or CMC and Kyle Juszczyk with 2 tight ends, Tonjes and Farrell. And they moved the ball very well in the 3rd and 4th quarter in those packages. So you're kind of giving them a lot to see. And, I want to talk about the run game just a little bit because you said, before the show, some things have to change in the run game. George Kittle's going to affect that. So in your opinion, with the missed blocks and a little bit different scheme, because you're still playing an odd front, just like you did last week, but it's a different scheme. It's similar, but it ain't the same because those safeties kind of sit back for the Saints a little bit more in that shell style, whatever it is. Brandon Staley staple, baby. So talk to me about the run game for the 49ers and some of the changes you want to see.
Yeah, I mean, right now you're getting stubbornness. You got it from Mike McDonald last week, where he wanted to stay too high for a lot of the game, even when you were in 22 personnel. And that's what Brandon Staley does too. He's stubborn. He wants a too high shell. He will gladly put 6 guys along the line of scrimmage and run a 6-1 type look. And what it does, though, is it lends some opportunities for you to go run the football against that look. Just because they have those 6 guys across the board doesn't mean you can't run. It just means you have to kind of read it left to right. Where can I find an advantage with my strong side compared to my weak side? Now, it makes it a little bit more complicated for 49ers offensive linemen who are used to being hyper athletic in space. And now they've got to go man up a little bit more because now they're going to be occupied by guys in front of them. But they did a pretty good job with that last week. That wasn't the problem. They struggled more getting to space, where I saw Ben Barch falling down and getting knocked down, not able to get to a linebacker, or guys jumping inside of Colt McKivitz and him kind of struggling with the lateral quickness. So those are some of the things I think they need to fix. In that second half, the 49ers really just said, you know what? Let's get some of this inside zone going. Let's go run right at them. Let's get man-on-man type blocking, and it worked more effectively. They also added a little bit of the counters as well, getting McCaffrey moving, bringing him back. But Farrell and Tonjes are going to have to be effective when they come back on that trap block, that wham block. They're going to have to be way more effective. Luke Farrell struggled with that. Boye Mafi went right around him. So there's some little things they need to get more effective at there. But I think this is a game plan that fits the 49ers. I think some outside tosses, some plays out on the edge. Now you don't have many linebackers to block. Block the guy in front of you. As long as they can hold up physically and not give up too much ground, I think they'll be okay.
Yeah, and I mean, you ran the ball 36 times last week. Only averaged 3.3 yards, which is not good. That is very, very bad for Shanahan offense. But I love that they were committed. And so, man, you're talking this week. It's one of the lowest over-under games of the week already, 40.5 points. I think it's going to keep dropping. Like, again, last weekend was 17-13, and it was a similar score for the Cardinals-Saints game. Like, this is not going to be Pac-12 after dark. You know what I mean? This is going to be 1990s, Big Ten, Eddie George, 3 yards, cloud of dust. You know what I'm talking about? Like, that's what it's going to be. And the NFL, any given Sunday, doesn't matter. I think both teams are going to mitigate. Now, I will, hold on. I do want to kind of nuance just a little bit. The freaking Saints threw the ball 46 times last week. They threw the most pass attempts in the NFL after week 1, which makes no sense. Now, they only averaged like 4 yards per pass, which is even worse than 3.3 yards per rush. So I don't know. Let me push back on that and, stick it with this run game, kind of whatever. Let's dip our toe just slightly. We'll go back to this later in the show. Do you think the Saints are also going to go run heavy, or do you think they stay with this quick tempo, play action, get the ball out quick that they were doing with Spencer Rattler last week?
I think that they're going to try to run the ball early, right? This is kind of what teams try to do the 49ers. The problem is Robert Saleh's defense is better with run fits than this 49ers defense has been in years. I mean, the way the guys were stepping up and playing down the line of scrimmage and attacking vertically, it's going to be tough. So I think that they might start trying to run the ball early with Kamara and get some things going because they know that's the best way to kind of limit the effectiveness of the 49ers offense. But I think they might have to go to some of those passes and try to get the ball out and try to take advantage of the 49ers nickel corner. And maybe even when they get them into a base 4-3 set, take advantage of Luke Gifford. I think those are the two advantages they have. Other than that, I mean, it's going to be really tough sledding for that offense. Maybe the one matchup that I probably should be the most concerned about is Jawan Johnson. I think Jawan Johnson is a guy that 49ers are going to have to handle. And who's it going to be? Is it going to be Jason Pennick? Is it going to be Marquise Siegel? I think that's one of those ones that's going to be interesting.
I don't want it to be Siegel.
Right.
I do not want it to be Siegel. But, whenever you're at zone and whatever else, like, I'm not overly concerned about that because that's going to be one of the linebackers or Upton Stout kind of being in that hook to curl zone, whatever else. But whenever they do that cover one man under, which I love seeing, just the exoticness that you brought it in. Niners ran more cover one under man last year than ever before under Sorensen, but you did it as a plain vanilla bean ice cream. You never disguised it. It was what it is. Last week, you're disguising that stuff and doing all this, whatever else, man. I thought that was awesome. So, yeah, we'll see what that looks like in man coverage, but I do know it will not be Jair Brown, and I do know that it will not be Devondre Campbell, and so I do have a little bit of hope there. And I'm with you, Invader. I hope they throw it like crazy. I really, really do. Get that ball out. Let's see it. Let's see it. Let's see it. Now, I want to talk, and we're even getting questions in the chat about guys like Isaac Guerendo getting more work. We're talking about guys like, man, you're getting Jordan Watkins back. You're getting Jordan James back. So a lot of young bucks are returning. That's what I want to talk about next, Ant. Which one of these young guys, plus Kendrick Bourne, are going to see a substantial amount of playing time, if any, in week 2, right after this. You know that one guy in the group chat who had a 5-leg parlay week 1 and just wouldn't shut up about it for the rest of the season? That could be you. My bookie makes it super easy to get into the action. College football, NFL, super contest, survivor pools, casino, blackjack, whatever it is you want, they got it. All the spreads, player props, and in-game lines you could want all under one roof. And if you're new to my bookie, use our code 49ers, 49ERS, up to $500 is fully covered. You make your play. Let's say it doesn't hit. You get all of it right back up to $500 when you opt in using your bet back bonus, and you get it back. It's just what it is. Comes with a one-time rollover if you use it. Now, no better time to jump in, no better place to play. Plus, we have all of our weekly bets and season bets up on our Patreon and the 49ersrush.com. So if you don't know how to get started, we've got it made for you. We show you what we bet. We show you what's out there, and we will cover that with you. It's going to be a good time. So football's back. Let's make some money with MyBookie. Promo code 49ERS. Let's go. We increased our bankroll 38% last week after week 1. Hopefully we do that again. No guarantees. But shout out to Applesauce that says, don't forget to opt in the bet back bonus whenever you sign up. That comes with a one-time rollover. Check that out. We'll post our bets probably Saturday morning this week as I'm flying all day Friday. If I get some good reception at the airport, I'll come up with those. But if not, we'll see. I got a layover in Denver. Then I land late Friday, whatever else. We'll see what that is. But we'll be posting those bets. So let's talk new 49ers. And you can take this whichever way you want. Kendrick Bourne, he's signed. He's practiced. He's got experience with Mac Jones. Jordan James, he's back this week. Jordan Watkins, back this week. You're getting some new blood on the offense. Any of these guys you expect to get some decent snaps this week?
I think it's the most likely that Kendrick Bourne gets more snaps than the other two. I think the other two are likely to be inactive. You don't really need that many running backs. Guerendo didn't even get carries last week. You want to work Brian Robinson. Thankfully. I get it. Yeah, I know. No Guerendo. So that means you don't really have any room for Jordan James to get any sort of carries. I don't think he's going to help you on special teams. I think he's going to be a healthy scratch if he's healthy. I don't know. They keep saying the finger's still bothering him. With Jordan Watkins, I think it's the same sort of thing. You've got a lot of bodies now. And I think Kyle feels more comfortable with Kendrick Bourne. I think Kendrick Bourne's completely correct. It's on him. If he gets where he understands his offense and knows where he lines up and knows where he's supposed to be, Kyle's going to roll with Kendrick Bourne because he feels comfortable with Kendrick Bourne being able to block and make some of those plays. And depending on Jawan Jennings' health, the 49ers might need Kendrick Bourne. You can't really go out there with Ricky Pearsall, MVS. Are you elevating Russell Gage again? I don't think if Kendrick Bourne plays, they might not need to elevate Russell Gage. So it's going to be interesting, but I think Kendrick Bourne of the three is the most likely to get some snaps. Even then, I think it's not going to be a ton of snaps for Kendrick Bourne. Just here and there, hit and miss, maybe a couple third downs when you need a big-time catch, you could put him in there.
Yeah, I like Watkins. My issue is, like, I want a new kick returner. I don't want Isaac Guerrero being a kick returner. Bobbled the snap, ran into his own blocker, barely got past the 20, like, was terrible. It actually did good on all the other special teams, but, like, I don't know. I'm at the point where I'm like, Jordan James is going to be the running back 3 eventually. I don't want Isaac Guerrero getting any more work whatsoever. I just want him to learn and try to develop some type of vision at some point during this year as a backup role. But Jordan Watkins had a lot of his reps with Mac Jones because he was running with the twos, to start training camp. They had a lot of chemistry. And so I want Jordan Watkins to be the number 2 returner. I want Jordan Watkins to get snaps. And you go to Kendrick Bourne, he hasn't practiced in a long damn time. And Kyle Shanahan even talked about this in the presser yesterday. Yeah, he was here and he knows like the verbiage and he knows all that stuff, but things changed. Niners ain't running the same thing. I understand that he can step in, but is he in football shape? I don't know the answer to that question. I kind of think Kendrick Bourne is more for next week and kind of the long-term play. But man, it's a mess because is Jawan Jennings playing? Let me ask you this. What is the percentage Jawan Jennings plays this week and starts and has a similar kind of role? What would you put that at?
I would probably say he's 50-50. Yeah. I have no idea how the shoulder is, so I would just say 50-50.
And he's not getting reps because even if he is practicing, he's wearing that non-contact whatever. If you got any shoulder, whatever. And where he got hurt, he was running routes, got rerouted. And, whenever you don't play football for 3+ months and you're not used to contact and banging around, you go out there and try to play game speed. Just not where it is. Just not where it is. Like, you have to get into football shape. Kendrick Bourne ain't there. Jordan Watkins ain't there. Jordan James ain't there. So it's kind of dangerous to throw those guys in there whenever they haven't been playing. I think that's kind of a difficult situation. Now, let's do the flip side. Let's talk a little bit Saints. Because it's not just the 49ers that are banged up. Football is a 100% injury sport, and as of now, the Saints are down their top 2 safeties. Tyrann Mathieu retired unexpectedly when he saw how bad the Saints were going to be. And then Julian Blackmon, who they paid a lot of money, came in, balled out. He's got a shoulder injury and likely done for the season. Like, they are just patching together that back end. Not to mention they're missing not 1, but 2 starting offensive linemen. The first-round pick last year, Talise Fuaga, and Trevor Penning, their other first-round pick who's been a disappointment, but still, and Chase Young. So they're down 5 starters currently. We'll have to see how the injury report shakes out. But no team, nobody in the NFL does this. Woe is me. Oh, my gosh, we're in trouble. How are we going to handle this? Blah, 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 blah. Nobody feels bad for you. And shout out to Trey Hall. Appreciate the super chat. Need Brock Purdy back for the Rams. I want Brock Purdy back week 3. But yeah, definitely Brock Purdy. I'd bet whatever Brock Purdy's going to be back for the Rams. But what are your thoughts just on the Saints, their injuries, how they're trying to overcome some of this stuff, and what they're going to look like this week?
Yeah, I think the safety is a really big concern. Julian Blackmon out. Tyrann Mathieu had already retired. And, Blackman's out for the season. Well, Jordan Howden, he's been hurt too. He didn't play last week. He was inactive. So you don't even know if he's going to play, if it's going to be Jonas Sanker. Jonas Sanker's a good player, but that's a young guy coming in, getting his first reps. What's that going to look like? This would have been tailor-made for George Kittle to go out there and just have a huge game after Trey McBride just, went off and really had a good game against the New Orleans Saints. There's opportunities for tight ends in this game, but I think that is going to be a concern for them. How is that safety room going to be able to handle, these wide receivers and tight ends? And I think wide receivers especially, can you get some looks where you get MVS on one of those safeties deep down the field and Mac Jones willing to take a shot? I think you can. And I think that's going to be one of the key elements. But yeah, them not having Chase Young really hurts them as well. They lose a little bit of pass rush because that interior portion of that Saints defensive line, they're really big, they're really strong, but they're not very good when it comes to pass rush. They're going to get a push, but they're not going to be able to just outright win with athleticism and speed. All that speed comes from the outside. Cam Jordan, Granderson, those are going to be the guys that do it. So I think those are going to be a concern. And I think on offense, if Talise Fuaga doesn't play, and he got pulled from last week, if he doesn't play this week, and they're without him and Penning, I think they're okay without Penning. They'll be okay. But you've got a starting right tackle that's a rookie. I like Kelvin Banks, but that's an opportunity to take advantage of. And then you're going to have a backup at left tackle, Nick Bosa, Bryce Huff. These guys are already licking their chops at what they could do getting after Spencer Rattler, who already wants to hold on to the football and try to make plays down the field. I think it's a good situation for the 49ers defense.
Oh, I like it. Look at this big red faithful. He coaches down outside of Dallas. Says, John, think it's time to come back to Texas, visit family, a.k.a. run high school games with me. You're the best, man. Yeah, get me an aunt down there. We'll form a powerhouse team. I'm very thankful. I got offered a couple coaching gigs this summer, just, from old guys I used to coach with. And every time I get one, you got those little angels on your shoulders. You know what I'm talking about? Like, I got two devils. I don't have two angels. And they're just like, hell yeah, run it back, coach. Because that was my thing. Like, coach was my persona, my career, my almost identity in the community. And whenever I gave that up, it was hard. But man, go get that W. I still got more work to do with the kiddos here. Look at them. Don't threaten me with the good time. I do love that. You are the best. And so, yeah, we'll have to see. Now, a couple questions came through in the chat that I want to kind of jump to. I do want to talk some more Saints. Cool Dad, does Gurindo get more touches this week? No, considering he got one last week and had not one but two major errors, I doubt that he has earned more. I think it's going to be Christian McCaffrey and Brian Robinson show. I think Robinson might get a little bit more snaps this week, understanding that it's going to be a ground and pound game. But Gurindo, no. And I expect Gurindo to be a running back 4, not a running back 3 anytime soon. Cam's dad. What's up, Cam's dad? What are your odds that Brock Purdy plays this week? After listening to Lynch, he left the door open. I'm going to put it at 20% this week. Probably not going to play because you have a divisional game next week. I would put next week at about 75%, though. What are your thoughts? Brock playing this week and next week?
Yeah, I think that, Kyle calling it a long shot. I don't know if Kyle's just starting to play the media, just kind of play a game. It looks like he might be. So we'll see what happens, because I watched some of the players' reactions, too, when the media is telling them Brock's a long shot. And, a couple of them were kind of like, so I don't know what's going on with Brock Purdy. I think that right now 25% seems accurate. He didn't practice, and we'll see what happens the rest of the week. If all of a sudden he starts sneaking in there, you never know what happens with Brock. But I think it's likely going to be a Mac Jones game, and I'm with you. I think next week Brock Purdy will return.
I'm sticking to this. One, Brock played through the injury, which isn't always a good indicator. But number two, they did not sign a number 3 quarterback. Those are the reasons why I'm shifting my thing to 25% this week, 75% next week. That's where I'm at right now. I did not change anything based on that Ian Rappaport report that's going viral and everybody's flipping out. I'm sorry. I trust Kyle on a lot of things. Sure as hell don't trust that dude on anything injuries. You remember last year, the Wednesday or Thursday, he said, yeah, Christian McCaffrey's questionable. He's probably going to start this week. Didn't play for 2 months. And then this week, Christian McCaffrey had the injury. He's like, yeah, questionable. I don't know, guys. I'm telling you, that dude, I wish I could play poker with Kyle Shanahan, because I think I would clean that dude's clock every time he bluffs, just because I watch every damn press conference. But yeah, who knows? He'd probably still, run the floor with me. But that's okay. That's okay. Right here. Can Corey Kiner return, or is he done for the year? I think I gave some misinformation earlier in the year. I went back and read through the NFL bylaws. One of the new adjustments is when you do a player goes on injured reserve before the 53 cut down, and you release them on a contract settlement. What happens is it goes to an arbitrator, and they say, okay, what's the injury? High ankle sprain. Okay, well, that's anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks. The 49ers pay based on that many missed games, whatever the arbitrator in them comes up with. Let's say 6 games for a high ankle sprain. They pay him the settlement fee for that. Then he's released. Once that arbitrator term length ends, he can return to that. So Tanner Mordecai, whether you want to throw in Carter Bradley, unless Gus Bradley's watching, you don't want to do that, or Corey Kiner, whatever. So that's kind of where that is. Now, none of that is disclosed publicly, so we don't know when those exact dates are, but you can look at the actual injury that they had, kind of come up with a generic term of a length of term, and when that time expires, they can return. Like you're seeing guys that, like Amir Abdullah, already signed with another team, right? 49ers put him on IR. They put him on an injury settlement, released him. Now he can sign with any other team whenever, but he can re-sign with the 49ers once that arbitrator length is out there and has finished. So that's kind of where that is. Anything you want to add to that, or anything I messed up, Ant, that you could correct?
No, you got it.
I got it. Oh, that's what I wanted to hear. I got it. So let's get back to the Saints. Talk to me about what the defensive strategy of Robert Saleh against Spencer Rattler, and again, they threw 46 times last week, and it was a crazy tempo. They stopped huddling for like a large portion of the game, and it was just run as many plays as you can. It was kind of like frantic, whatever else. How does that affect the 49ers and kind of a completely different thing going against Kubiak?
Yeah, I mean, it can keep you in one look, one shell. But, with Robert Saleh, he can change up what his looks are going to be as far as what, type of coverages he's going to run. The key is going to get Spencer Rattler to be confused from pre to post snap. So whatever he runs pre snap, they could look the same every single time, and post snap just, confuse him a little bit. But I think they need to bring pressure. They need to make sure that Spencer Rattler feels uncomfortable from the very beginning. I think that they can get home with 4. But I think the fact that Robert Saleh was willing to show that he was going to bring 5 or 6, and then sometimes he did bring in 5 or 6, I think those are opportunities for big losses or mistakes from Spencer Rattler and turnovers. I think that's going to be one of the keys. If they can get Spencer Rattler to turn over the football, 49ers are going to have a huge advantage. So it can be difficult to go against offenses that just stay on the field and want to go fast, because it's harder for you to sub in and sub out. Could determine how the 49ers go with their personnel groupings, where last week, is very predictive. First and second down, they went big bodies. Third down and long, they went with their NASCAR package. Down the stretch, 2-minute offense, 2-minute offense, they go with that package as well. So it was 14 plays for Yetur Gross-Matos. So I think they're very predictive. That might change some of that for the 49ers, but can they be good enough to continue that for a long period of time? I think that's the biggest question.
Yeah. And, you brought up pressuring Spencer Rattler. Now, what was funny is the Seahawks game plan was quick passing, first read, get the ball out quick, neutralize the pass rush. Sam Darnold was 4th in the NFL last year with last week against the Niners, 2.4 seconds time to throw. That's his average time to throw on dropbacks. Spencer Rattler, above or below? Do you think Spencer Rattler got the ball out faster than Darnold or slower than Darnold? Sam Darnold was 4th. Where do you put Spencer Rattler?
I'm saying he took longer.
Took longer? I tricked you, Ant. Yeah, I didn't give you any answers. He tied them. They tied for 4.
Okay.
They have the exact same time. So Rodgers got it out faster, first, then Stafford, then Zach Wilson, who only took 9 dropbacks. But Rattler and Darnold tied. I think that's what this is going to be. It's going to be quick passes. Just get the ball out as fast as you can. Don't huddle. Run as many plays as you can. Try to get some explosive plays with whatever. So, I don't know. I think the 49ers don't really have to adjust what their game plan is going to be. It's going to be quick fire. And now you got tape. That's the thing that changes. Robert Saleh, Fred Warner, Nick Bosa above anybody else. You have tape to watch. You can go out there and look. It's going to be similar. They have one dynamic receiver in Chris Olave. The Seahawks, one dynamic receiver in, JSN. I think it's going to be kind of a little bit of kind of copy paste, whatever, with what you did last week. Now, you did a whole bunch of exotic blitzes. I want quick hitting blitzes. I don't like the long developing ones, because it's going to be just catch and release. I think that's going to be the game plan, but we'll have to see that. How do you feel about the Saints run game? I feel like the 49ers and Christian McCaffrey and the Saints and Alvin Kamara are kind of like the 2 last great hopes of the older running back class that are dual threat, catch, pass game, can kind of do everything. What are your thoughts there?
Well, I think that it's going to hurt if they don't have Talise Fuaga. I think that's going to be a huge setback. in their run offense in general, but they weren't very effective last week getting any movement up front. And I think that that's going to be a real problem for them because the 49ers definitely beefed up. It's going to be interesting. Kamara's still a talented running back. He's still got all the vision in the world. And if he gets a crease, he can make some things happen. We've seen a couple of runs last week where you saw him get out in the open field and he can still do some damage. But I think it's going to be harder to find those windows against this 49ers defense. They did a pretty good job last week. And I don't think that the Saints offensive line is as good as the Seahawks offensive line, believe it or not. I think the Seahawks offensive line had some improvements in certain areas, especially in the interior where they drafted high. And I think that's a concern. Trevor Penning, possibly no Talise Fuaga. I think those injuries are going to hurt. I also don't know what they're going to get from the tight end as far as blocking. We'll see what happens there with them. But overall, I think the 49ers are going to go against a lesser run game, a really more talented running back, but a lesser run game because of some of the blocking.
Yeah, Kamara looked good early. They kind of got away from the run game. And I was like, man, why the whole time I'm watching the coach's tape, I'm just like, why is every play a pass play? Like, I was just like, calm down, bro. Like, hey, I get it. Kellen Moore, head coach, first time, whatever. But the whole time I was just like, what are you doing? Like, chill out, bro. But anyway, we'll digress there. Now, man, we got a really cool question about how you came up with 49ers Cutback and how I came up with 49ers Rush. We're going to talk about the origin stories of both of our shows here in a second. But if you're going to any 49ers game this season on the road, you got to come party with us, and New Orleans is no exception.
49ers Rush Road Trip is going into its 6th year with over 40 events at road games. If you are traveling to see the 49ers play this year, you got to come party with us. And on top of that, we give games, trivia, giveaways. We've partnered with TickPick this year. All you have to do is search 49ers Rush on any of the TickPick sites, apps, you name it. And on top of all of that, best dressed, giveaways, autographed jerseys, kids are always included, and get in for free with a ticketed adult. And a lot of times for select cities, we will have 49ers legends come out and you get to meet and greet them and get an autograph. Navarro Bowman, Frank Gore, Patrick Willis, Fred Warner are all players that we have worked with in the past. And trust me, if you want to build the 49ers community, you're traveling by yourself, we got you covered. 49ersRushRoadTrip.com.
All right, if you're coming to New Orleans, which you should be, because it's going to be awesome, come party with us on Bourbon Street. Saturday, we'll be at the Bourbon Street Drinkery from 2 to 6 p.m. Kids always free, but you do have to get tickets. This will probably sell out. I'm hoping we're going to be able to reserve some walk-up space, but we'll see. The party is going to be full. So anyway, come party with us. There are still tickets available. Don't know how long that's going to last. And then we have our tailgate right underneath the giant clarinet mural 2 blocks from the Superdome. Going to be the best tailgate party I've ever thrown in my life. I am so excited. Seafood station, barbecue station, King's Cake, you name it. It's going to be incredible. Come out with us. Man, I'm so pumped. It's my birthday, dude. It's Sunday. We're going to have a good time. We're going to make some bad choices. It's what it's going to be. Now, I want to learn more, and I'm curious about this because I just want to know your answer. I'll get into mine a little bit. Will, how did you guys come up with the names for your podcast channel? How'd you come up with 49ers Cutback? Ant?
Yeah, what's interesting is what I was doing at the time, me and one of my friends were going to high school games. I had just stepped away from coaching, and we were going and we were watching, and we started tweeting about what was going on in the games. And people were like, hey, you guys should do a channel where we could get updates on what's going on in these games. So we started doing that, and we didn't know what to call it. And we're sitting there, and one of the kids made a huge cutback run. And I'm like, let's call it Cutback. And he's like, let's do that. So we did it. And it wasn't too much longer from that I'm like, we started talking about getting into talking about the 49ers. And so it's like, hey, let's just do 49ers Cutback. It's clean. It's nice. It's something different that not everybody has. And so we did that. We thought it kind of went with the cutback, the talk back type thing. So we went with that, but it actually started, just sitting there tweeting at high school games, just, getting everybody's attention, letting the parents know what was going on in games they couldn't come to. And that's just kind of how it started.
I freaking love it. Talk about coaching background, how that comes through. I love it. I love it. I'm a big, I want meaning, right? And so I think the city where I hate certain teams where their mascots are like the Tennessee Titans. That's stupid as hell. Like, The Carolina Panthers, dumb as hell. Like, absolute waste. Do something that has to do with the area, right? And so for me, I came down to two things. One was 49ers context, because I just wanted to add context to 49ers conversation, but that's not that cool. But yeah, context was going to be the one. But 49ers rush, right? It's kind of like the double meaning. You got the rush, the quarterback, whatever else, but the gold rush as well. So that's kind of how I came up with that. I thought it was simple. My email is like awful with my middle name Lamar in it, so I always have to spell anytime I give out my email address. And they're like, and everybody always says say that Lamar. They're like, everybody, yeah, it's my middle name. They're like, really? And then especially if they see me and I spell out my middle name, they're like, huh, really? But anyway, so I just wanted something that was simple. 4 letters, rush, RUSH, seems simple. And here we are, man, going on year 9. And wait, how long you been doing this?
We started it 2020 during, it was kind of like that hotbed of COVID. So it was like right there where we started it.
There we go. And right here, Red Zone says, also the cheerleaders are Gold Rush. I did not know that until I went through the copyright whole whatever thing. That is when I was like, oh, crap. But I already had like my logo, which we've changed like 20 times. And I was already like had episodes out. And I was like, man, I don't want to change it. But thankfully it was able to go through. So I like that. So take that for whatever you will. But yeah, I like the rush. That's kind of where we are. A couple other questions that I want to get to if I click on the right button. Good Lord. We are struggling. Oh, look at this. We got a super chat from Nicholas Parra. Can't wait. His birthday is tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. I am so pumped. His birthday's Friday. He's coming to New Orleans. My birthday's Sunday. Virgos, I believe, is what we are. I'm not into the zodiac asparagus signs, but everybody keeps telling me I'm a Virgo when I tell them my birthday. He says, with the Saints injuries, we should rattle Rattler. Yes. I really hope that you're able to get to him. Their game plan is to throw the ball out quick. Only turn the ball over once. But, man, you get a couple turnovers this game. I think it's going to be huge. I really, really do. So that's where that is. But yeah, right here. Can't wait for Sunday. Thank you, Alex. Been listening for years. I'm finally going to make it to my first road trip event. See you Sunday, John. Can't wait, Alex. That's what's up, man. Absolutely love it. Kendrick Bourne. I do want to talk more Kendrick Bourne. Let's put numbers on this. What is the percentage that he is active this week?
I think it's going to happen. I'm going to say 55%. I think it's
okay.
A little over 50-50 that he's active this week.
It kind of depends on Jawan Jennings, too. Like, if Jawan Jennings is out, then he is active. If Jawan Jennings is playing, then you can kind of be cautious and bring him in slowly. But, yeah, I think that's interesting. Now, Braden Willis gets elevated this week. We kind of jumped over this one a little bit quick at our tight end conversation. Does he get play time outside of special teams and just if an injury happens? Do you think Braden Willis gets actual snaps, or is it going to be Farrell, Tonjes, and Juice taking over that tight end room?
I think it's going to be, Farrell, Tonjes, and Juice. I think Braden Willis only comes in if somebody needs a break or, a blow. He might come in a couple of plays here or there, but I don't think it's going to be anything other than special teams for Braden Willis. He's just a break in case of an emergency type situation.
Yeah, I'm agree with you there. Alejandro Chapman, you doing any home game rush parties? No, the plan is not to. The 49ers asked me not to, and I'm like a vampire. I don't go where I'm not wanted. So, yeah, the 49ers said we got too big too quick, and they didn't want people doing what we do at the home games. They want to make all the money themselves. So I just hands up. I'm good. I'm going to focus on there's lots of good home tailgates to go to. So if you come to a home game, bring a 6-pack of beer or your favorite liquor of choice or some food, walk around the tailgate and just say, hey, we got this. You mind if we join you? Offer to chip in a couple bucks. Man, trust me, it works every single time. 70% of the time, it works every time. There we go. That doesn't make any sense. But yeah, check that out. So, Ant, any other closing remarks or takeaways before we wrap this show up? How are you feeling about the Saints week with all these injuries? Give us some hope, my friend.
Yeah, I think if the 49ers can establish a run game early, I think that's going to set up Mac Jones for success. And I think that will propel the 49ers offense into being able to move the ball consistently. 24 first downs last week was not by mistake. This offense was about staying ahead of the sticks. And if they can do that again against the Saints, I think it can be successful. Mac Jones can be successful in this offense. And I just have a lot of faith in Robert Saleh and that defense that they're going to be able to slow down Spencer Rattler and Kellen Moore's offense and be able to get more opportunities for that 49ers offense where they can really get some chances to make some key plays. And then Eddie Pinheiro, he's going to make some kicks. He's going to get it done. And he's so smart. He said, hey, I know how this league works. If you don't make kicks, you're gone. He knows what he's got to do. He wants to be in San Francisco. He'll make the kicks he's supposed to make. And I think the 49ers will end up getting a big win against the New Orleans Saints. It won't be pretty. I don't think it's going to be pretty, but I think they're going to win, and it's going to propel them into week 3 against the Arizona Cardinals.
Oh, 2-0 on the road with all these injuries. Again, I kept all offseason, the saving grace was the coaching staff and the schedule. The coaching staff and the schedule, plus the blue chip players, but now you're out quite a few of the blue chip players. But that's okay. You look at the Saints, they don't have an easy schedule. Man, the Saints schedule, okay, they lost to the Cardinals, which is their easiest game. Then they play us. Then they play Seattle. Then they play Buffalo. And keep in mind, Spencer Rattler's 0-7 as a starter. He's never won a game. The record is 10 straight losses to start the season for any quarterback ever. And man, he might be pushing that. So is this a winnable game for the Saints? Yes. At home? Yes. All the injuries? Yes. But the better team, the better coaching staff, the better roster is the 49ers, even with all these injuries. I think they go out there and handle business. They're still 3-point favorites over on Vegas, so we'll see what that is. But Ant, I want to say thank you, everybody, wherever you are. Go subscribe to 49ers Cutback. Watch, listen, hit that subscribe button, hit that alert button. If you got time, do it to mine as well. But Cutback, we got to get those numbers up. He is crushing it. Ant is the freaking man. So thankful for all you do with us, and we'll keep doing Thursday Coach Approach throughout the season. But for everybody else, you are the best. Stay healthy out there. It's rough. Make sure you stretch first. And until next time, stay strong, faithful.